Oh.
The second quarter begins with a blockage.
I won't be surprised, it won't be long before one of them faints from heat stroke in the shop.
Usually I take water, I just spray on my head, I really cannot tahan.
Out of the strife rises the spirit of giving and sharing.
One of the things that we learned, not to look down on delivery riders, like a lot of people are doing previously.
With all that sharing, one dish takes on a new look. Food from the street that became a country's pride. Through times good and bad, the cooks fed the country. Here at the table are their stories of generations and aspirations. The voices of the hawker culture from inside the belly of a nation. In the beginning, there was rice, ground into flour. With water, something magical happens. The bihun is born. This staple is usually sold in a dried form. A prior soaking prepares it for further transformation into an array of dishes enjoyed by the various communities in Singapore. Satay bihun, where it is blanched and ready to soak up a rich peanut-based sauce. Or a popular economic breakfast option, steamed or fried. A simple fried version is cooked up with just garlic, bean sprouts, and black soy sauce. It can also be turned into bihun goreng, with fiery red or white versions. Bihun is also the base of soupy dishes. This fish head dish lies upon thicker noodles called chaw bihun.
Chaw bihun is more popular amongst the crowd around here. When people think of fish head bihun, they tend to think that it goes well with chaw bihun lah.
Chaw bihun, by the way, is the noodle that is also in Nonya laksa. A dish that is a fusion of cultures. As is mee Siam. Thin bihun awash in a sweet, sour, mildly spicy, light gravy. Its name literally means Siamese noodles, but in truth, it's a Singapore concoction. Various ethnic groups cook this differently, some with a coconut milk gravy, others with an orangey red bihun. This is achieved through constant mixing into a chili sambal sauce.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to mix the sauce together with the bihun so that we can change it to red, because it takes a lot of effort to make sure that everything is consistent and all in color. Otherwise, we have white and red, then like not so nice. We will then keep doing like this until it dries up. My brother will say, make sure sampai kering, which is make sure until it dries up. So this is my morning routine. That's how I work out here. Don't need to go to the gym. Then if she feels that it's a bit tangy, we add some water to make it softer.
My name is Nur Farah Damri. I'm currently the owner of Enya Aina, and we sell Malay dishes. In the morning, we will sell nasi lemak, mee siam, mee soto, soto ayam, lontong.
Her mother, Kamsia, is the head cook behind the scenes. Farah manages and assists in the kitchen, a far cry from her previous corporate life.
I was in the corporate world for, say, about 5-6 years. During my career there, I was more in the community engagement.
She got into the hawker trade to spend more time with her children and to learn about her own culture and food.
I'm a Singaporean. However, I grew up in overseas. I left Singapore at 8 years old because my father had a job back in Dubai. Personally, for me, because I've been away since I was 8 years old, and I realized I want to know my people. I think food here for our people, Singaporeans, is what brings us together.
Waiting for you. Are you sure or not? Yeah, very sure.
So I love like talking and interacting with them. So maybe, yeah, that's the reason why I just went hawker.
On top of her kitchen duties, she mingles with the neighbors.
Okay, so this is our neighborhood, which is just a walking distance from my makan stall. I do have my own suppliers, but because sometimes we do run out of green chilies or long beans, for example. 2粒，不要不要，对吗？3粒，3粒，哎，2粒。
他跟我讲2粒和sorry 哈。
啊，sorry 啊，大姐，谢谢你，大姐，明点见，帮我，拜拜。
In the days before refrigeration, cooked food hawkers gathered with fresh food sellers to access good ingredients. This grouping then naturally became part of Singapore's hawker culture. Over time, fresh food sellers began to import most of their ingredients. This became a big problem when COVID-19 hit. Borders around the world closed, and this affected incoming shipments of supplies.
Initially, we were scared of what the Malaysian government did, but because we scared that vegetables stop coming in from Malaysia because we get supply from Malaysia. And some of the things already went up. Yeah, like the onions and potato, I think 1 kilo already gone up half the price. So, but now the supplies coming in, so I think they will reduce the price again.
The cost of goods, certain goods went up for a while. Certain goods has stayed slightly higher. The price has stayed slightly higher.
For Suran in particular, the timing couldn't have been worse. For over 20 years, Suran's mother, Madam Lechmi, followed the same routine. Arrive before dawn to begin the grueling, multitasking prep work for her Appam and Thosai business. He follows in her footsteps. But now, he's on his own. Suran has taken over his mother's shop as planned, and she goes into retirement.
Even though I'm younger, my mother is actually faster. She has a very fast working style. Yeah. I'm afraid of rushing because I'm not very good at multitasking because you saw earlier there's about 4 or 5 stoves on at the same time. Easily one thing will burn if I'm gonna rush. Yeah, so that's the different style. But other than that, cooking style mostly the same. Yeah, customer service is way better lah. Mau makan bang? Oh, sorry, no choice. Makan apa bang?
Nasi masala 1, nasi telur 1 makan.
Telur 1, masala 1. Telur garing. Okay. Of course, the nervousness and all that would be there because I am taking over not only the shop, is taking over her customers also, you see, and her customers have been coming for years and years and years.
He cooks to his mother's recipes, except for one dish that looks like bihun and which has many names.
Putu mayam, they say kutu mayam, they'll say putu apayam, they'll say a lot of things lah. The proper Tamil version is idiyappam. Then in English they call it string hoppers. So there are some who are very proper, they'll come order, give me string hoppers. And then there's older folk who are, hey, pack for me mihun, pack for me mee siam, pack for me the mee. They'll say a lot of things lah. We just learn to understand already.
Putu mayam is a rice flour mix that's steamed and squeezed into strands. In Kerala, southern India, it's commonly eaten with curry. In Singapore, the condiments are grated coconut and coloured sugar.
Nowhere else in the world will they eat with red sugar and coconut. Right? Even in Malaysia, it's not red sugar, it's gula melaka and coconut. Even if the black sugar gula melaka tastes nicer, customers, they just want the red sugar. I think it's just a nostalgic value, I guess. Technically, it's called jaggery sugar, but in reality nowadays, it's actually just sugar that is more fine like castor sugar and then dyed red, dyed orange. Yeah. It's an orange food dye, just very standard. Yeah, but somehow the look of it and the texture, every customer will tell you it tastes different. But actually, it's just sugar. Because it reminds them of the younger days, carefree days, you know, when the Indian man used to bring putu mayam on the bicycle on the head, and it's the standard red sugar coconut.
These days, many are factory-made. Suran used to make his from scratch with a recipe he devised.
Putu mayam is not difficult, it's just tedious. That's why no one wants to make it. And it's almost the same technique as making mihun. Flour has got to be at the right temperature. There's a lot of the tempering of the flour first.
Suran tempers the rice flour through gentle frying. But when to stop, only his nose knows.
I don't know how to describe it, but it just smells very different from the raw rice flour. I used to do it so long that I know the right smell. Yeah, so once I get that whiff of that smell, I know it's done. Then you got to add hot water at the right temperature. But the problem is, if you add like too hot, like 100 degrees water or above 90 degrees, it will start to cloy up. It become very cloyy, and then it will become like jelly, and when you try to squeeze out, it'll be hard to squeeze it. For me, the one that worked best was 82 degrees. Yeah. So after using for years thermometer, I knew the amount of water by touch, I guess. So what we usually do is we actually let it cool down and set. So we used to do like 3 times the size this dough, like 20 to 25 kilos of it a day, right? And it was all by hand, so it's a lot of work. And then once it's well set, and then you gotta squeeze it, which is another like harder work. Like it goes straight into the steamer. I think 1.5 minutes, just 2 minutes, and good to eat.
This recipe was first put to the test in 2010 when Suran opened his own stall at the age of 22.
Simpang Bedok, the Simpang Bedok market second floor. Whatever little money I had, and then I borrowed some, I opened a stall. I had no money. And I finished NS also, so I couldn't depend on anyone. So I had to figure it out or go bust lah. Weekend, my friends will help me. A lot of my friends will come and help. My wife took unpaid leave for 6 months. She helped me out. From there, someone else was having a stall there. They offered to partner up and open up at NUH Kopitiam. 1 stall became 2 stalls, 2 stalls became 5 stalls. And the cost became too high, and eventually I was doing too much, trying to work the stall, trying to work the accounts and all. I did it for like 4 to 5 years. I didn't see the cost going down. Like I was working easily like 18, 20 hours a day, sometimes 24 hours a day I work, sleep maybe 1 hour in the van. What I was doing, the work, was not equivalent to what I was making at all. Basically, I was naive, quite stupid also, young, over-ambitious. Then the opportunity came when one of another partner, he wanted to buy out the stall, my airport, NUH stalls and all. And I said, okay. And then I decided to help my mom. Just nice lah, my mom's having, arm aching, leg aching. So yeah, that's the long story short lah. There's a lot that happened in between, but this is the summary.
Today, only the Appam and Thosai are made from scratch at the stall. The putu mayam is produced elsewhere, exclusively for them and to their specs.
Here we lack the space. So we knew someone who makes like specific foods for shops and supplies and all that. So we spoke with them and I shared with them the recipe and told them that this is how we want the putu mayam and all. So they did it for us.
Suran took over the stall on April the 1st. But in under a week, his world and that of other hawkers was turned upside down.
The first day I took over was the day that Singapore got locked down. The very first week. Actually, we were laughing about it lah. At home, mommy, my mom and all, we were laughing that, hey, just took over, then kena lockdown already.
The euphemistically named circuit breaker put a stop to dining in and almost all forms of gathering. Unprecedented in the history of the country, the open community dining spaces of hawker centres were blocked off. Each centre had its own out-of-bounds look, some more extreme than others. masks became mandatory. How did the cooks taste their cooking?
A lot of up and down, yeah. First of all, I cannot hear the customers. So like, I cannot hear what they are ordering, and then it's very frustrating because like, fried rice, I cannot hear, you see? And then I cannot breathe when I'm cooking. If I wear the cloth on, I cannot breathe.
Even inside your aircon room, I don't think so you can take it for 18 hours, no? We inside this, how they call it, this sauna, we have to take how many hours inside with the mask on?
Usually I take water, I just spray on my head, I really cannot tahan.
It's especially difficult for those who work in kitchens that continually have open fires and sweltering steams.
好熱啊！而家我都濕晒啦，真係好辛苦啊！
佢喺入邊咧會比較辛苦啲啦，因為個口就濕咗咧，貼住比較流呼吸啲啦。我哋喺出邊跑嘅時候比較好啲啦。
I know that some of our older hawkers, they are having a very hard time. I won't be surprised. It won't be long before one of them faints from heat stroke in the shop because there's not really good fresh air coming in. You see, already it's hot, and you feel so stifled. So yeah, that might just happen. Probably already happened, but we just don't know lah.
The streets clear of people and traffic. The work-from-home rule hit hardest the hawkers in the CBD. Before the circuit breaker, Shafiq ventured into the city, setting up a branch to his brand of burgers. The nascent business near Raffles Place had to shut down barely a month later.
We went in the wrong time, We didn't anticipate, the situation to be that way. So we did a bold move to close after 1 month because to cut losses.
It's been half a year since Shafiq began a new brand of burgers at the Golden Mile Food Centre. The ambition of another branch would have to wait for a better time while they focus all their efforts on their remaining stall.
We did actually do our own social media marketing. We asked influencers to actually help us do promotions on their page. We gave away free foods, free desserts. So that's where we actually entice the customer to buy more.
The circuit breaker makes one thing clear. Mass gatherings are not allowed. Hanging in the balance is the annual bazaar, the colourful festival market in Geylang Serai to mark Ramadan. For over 40 years, it provided business opportunities for many in the area, especially food vendors. With visitors from various parts of the island, the bazaar was an ideal platform to showcase all kinds of foods, from traditional to fusion. The crowd also spilled into neighbouring businesses, like the hawker centre.
So if there's no bazaar, maybe the crowd won't be like every year. So we still don't know yet how the crowd like for this coming Hari Raya. I think all of us are worried because fasting month is a month where we can get business.
And it's confirmed.
There was no bazaar this year, so they shop for buka puasa here upstairs lah.
Hanan runs a popular Nasi Briyani stall that usually sells out by 2:30 daily, except during Ramadan, when the meal is packed for the evening's breaking of fast.
Kita pagi datang normal masak, kita start tengah hari, dia datang yang ada sini bulan puasa kita tak ada jual makan. Kita jual pancake. Siapa makan pun, siapa mau beli pancake kita kasih. Tidak payah suka lah, kita tak boleh kasih makan. Bulan puasa tak bagus.
So since it's long hours, so you start at 11, then you end at 6. So the duration a bit longer. So you means after like 3 o'clock, then the crowd starts to come in.
And it's fasting and it's very tiring. And some more it's Geylang Serai, it's hot. Yeah, and then you have stalls selling cold drinks. And when you see the cold drinks, like sometimes you get tested a lot.
During festive periods, Muslim hawkers who sell savouries would also dabble in the sweets.
For start, I still kueh, a bit of kueh, home-baked cookies, and then the brandy I put outside.
Kueh is a borrowing from the Teochew and Hokkien word meaning cakes. Most festivities in Singapore come with a massive roundup of sweet snacks and biscuits. They are especially popular during Hari Raya festivities, where the sweets are bought for sharing and giving. The fasting month is underlined by charitable acts performed by Muslims whenever and wherever they can.
During the Eve of Raya, we actually decided to close the shop to do a community project. We packed some soft drinks, goodie bags. We didn't serve our burgers because by the time we serve them, it will be soggy. So we decided, why not just get something like a dry goods so they could actually keep it. Then at the same time, give them a bit of a hang top. One of the things that we learned right now is not to look down on delivery riders, like what a lot of people are doing previously.
The sharing and giving theme emerged strongly, not only for Muslim hawkers, but also extended widely into society. And it forced some of them to pick up new skills, a little too quickly.
I was very, very burnt out, I remember. I actually broke down at the end of that week.
The CBD's post-apocalyptic look is an outward sign of something gone terribly wrong. With the circuit breaker in force, the hardest hit are the city hawkers.
Oh, slowed down a lot. I mean, the walk-in customers here, for lunch, it slowed down at least 75%, but for dinner, I think it was up to 90%. Yeah, it's practically zero, down to zero after 8 p.m. We have reduced our manpower as well because of the whole CB. We try not to have too many people crowding at the stall at any point of time. So initially we had a team A, team B, but it didn't really work out. So we actually, they take turns 1 week work and stuff like that.
Before the circuit breaker commenced, Debbie and her cousin Cayman ran a lunchtime service in Chinatown. The business, now in its 4th generation, belongs to their grand-aunt.
Trying to get her to stay at home since the first day, she's not listening to me. She's like, I cannot, I stay at home, I got nothing to do, I'll die earlier and stuff like that. So, as long as there's crowd, we ask her not to go out.
Also in the city is Madame Leong. Before the pandemic, she was a stalwart figure, serving her old-school wonton mein or wonton noodles and other dishes to city workers. It was a career that spanned nearly 3/4 of a century. But at 91, she's in the high-risk group. And with people staying away from the CBD, Madame Leong shut the stall down to wait the virus out. Also at risk are the hawkers at Maxwell Market, a central location that, for nearly 100 years, provided city workers with good meal options. Mr. Teo is a 3rd-generation hawker selling ngoh hiang or fried fritters. He still makes them from scratch, including the eponymous electric pink sausages known as guan chang and pork rolls in bean curd skins. Only he and his wife operate the stall. Thanks to COVID-19, they currently have an assistant, though it's only temporary.
At present, my son is helping me with this, all this internet network or whatsoever. And for us, I don't know about all these things. So once when he resumed his work, then I don't know, anyone will help me with this. He stopped his work and help me do some delivery, yes. So if not because of the delivery, I don't think so we can survive. Because the crowd down here is lunchtime crowd. And when all the offices is closed around this area, then who will come and do this all?
Bowls, plates, chopsticks are packed away. Hawkers no longer need to ask. The default answer is always tapao or takeaway. Others sign up with delivery platforms to drive their business. More common now, hawkers skip the platforms and deal directly with drivers.
Basically, it's because one of the factors was we can actually get the full revenue instead of a commission cut by third parties. So we hawkers, as you know, we are already selling at affordable prices. So I think it's better for us to work directly with consumers and drivers so that we can actually get the profits at 100% instead of a commission cut.
Like some of my my son's friend, driving Grab and things like that. At this present moment, they are very bad also, So we have one another. So, but then their charge is very cheap. Everywhere they go, they charge $5 per trip.
So for that 1 month, I have my specific driver. So he was the one who sent everything. I just take the briyani, he just go and deliver, and I give you the transport money. You can see online Facebook, everybody is doing the delivery. Yeah, so I think during the circuit breaker, delivery is like making money lah. If let's say got late night, some early in the morning, all doing delivery. Even some were doing wet market delivery. So they buy for you fish, raw fish, all those kind of things. During the circuit breaker, delivery is a good business.
We tap on all those Grab drivers, and we ask them for their numbers and their contacts and say, hey, you want to deliver this timing, and the price lah. Then most of them are willing lah. So yeah, so as in, it's like we're just helping the community as much as we can lah.
If they can ride a bike or they can walk and deliver, yeah, we try to engage their help as well. I think I slept less than 2 hours every single day because there was a lot of coordinating. We didn't do delivery before.
Debbie is the lunchtime cook for this zita or cook and fry stall. In the evening, she helps out in the service end, while the older chefs take over.
I have to talk to the customers themselves, confirm their orders, and then I have to prep for the mise en place for delivery. And then what was worse was the night shift, the chef, they didn't know I read English. Right? So my menu items was all in English, right? So I couldn't write it down and show it to them. So per item I have to tell them, oh, this is like bitter gourd fish head, and then they prep. This is like fried rice, they prep, and then I have to cook, and then I have to coordinate with the drivers. Imagine you have 10 orders for the day, you have to have different drivers, right? So I was the only one coordinating. So that week, I was very, very burnt out, I remember. I actually broke down at the end of that week. I was like, oh no, this is only first week. And then at that point, CB was too much. I was like, oh, I got 2 more months to go. Came in and helped to coordinate some of the stuff. I realized I couldn't do everything on my own.
The orders become more massive as customers themselves begin to collaborate. No longer a serving or two, but in bulk. Group buy is the latest catchphrase.
Bulk orders and pre-orders, so like they call or they message us and then we will just take it in. So like they message us at 9 AM, we want like 10 packet of hot fun. Okay, at 11:30, okay, sure, no problem. So I had maybe 3 bulk orders today. It's a good thing lah, I would say.
They got their whole condo to group buy together, and they come in bulk. It's very interesting because, I mean, they have like, maybe they could have 10 different orders across 30, 40 bowls, and then there's only one of me.
Her lunch menu is a twist on her family's zita dishes, with signatures being fish head bee hoon, beef hor fun, and fried rice. Today, there's a huge order, the bulk of which are for ha jiong gai, or prawn-paste chicken. Traditionally a dish served in restaurants, these crispy drumettes only became popular in the last few decades or so and started showing up in menus all over town. One reason for its popularity is its funky marinade.
Ha jiong gai is actually chicken marinated in prawn paste, and this prawn paste is made out of dried shrimp. So they kind of marinate and ferment it so that it becomes a paste with salt and flavorings, yeah. So overall, it's a very umami-filled dish. It has a very acquired taste. So some people actually cannot really take the prawn paste smell, even myself, because when I marinate the chicken, the smell is very, very intense and it stays on with you for a period of time. Yeah, so as much as I can, I try not to get it on myself, because if I start my day with prawn paste on me, I mean, I may be a walking infuser or something, but it gets to me sometimes.
After an overnight marinade, the chicken is coated in a mixture of flours. For many cooks, it's this mixture that produces the crispy outcome.
我们就是用3种不同的粉来混合。第一就是面包糠，就是跟薯粉跟那个米的粉来混合。因为我们怕多人的时候来不及，我们就会先把哈中盖一些炸上来，人家要的时候再炸给他吃，就是这样。
Of course, all this effort would go to waste if the fried chicken was kept steaming in its packaging. No one likes a soggy ha jiong gai.
things that will turn soggy will have to be the last to cook, and then and logistics-wise as well. So things like how are the hor fun to be packed.
Debbie's version of zi cha food doesn't help. Assembled similarly to poke bowls, there are non-traditional elements such as battered enoki mushrooms and sous vide eggs. They complicate packing logistics.
In the past, maybe it's the offices around here, they are fine with just everything in the bowl. But right now, we have delivery, which could be in Jurong, which could be in Tampines, so I'm very afraid that the quality will be jeopardized. Yeah, so we actually source around for takeaway boxes, and we realized we've been playing around with it. So right now, my house is stocked up with different kind of boxes. I have big one, round ones, square ones, and stuff like that. So we'll see what works. Right now, we are staying with something that actually can keep our enoki away from the sauce, which keeps it crispy, and the eggs as well. We're afraid that the eggs will be overcooked through the process of delivering.
Time is running short. The order has to be fulfilled very soon. While Debbie cooks, Cayman keeps track.
Where's the other meat hor fun? I only got one. I only one. There's one missing meat hor fun.
The two styrofoam is from Woodlands, this is from Bukit Panjang.
In contrast to their peers in the city, hawkers in the suburbs are having differing fortunes. Mr. Tay, together with his son, runs a stall in Admiralty. They sell char kway teow, or fried noodles, and chai tau kueh, or fried carrot cake. They have another stall in Bukit Panjang, operated by his wife and daughter.
5月開始啊，即係 COVID 熱來啊，我嘅生意啊已經是有加差唔多58%，最近嚟到差唔多100%了。啊，兩杯兩兩千嘅，尤其金邦，即係無論金邦 MRT 啊，嘅生意啊已經跑啊。
頭2個禮拜沒有生意，下來的我的生意 not bad 啦。
Mr. and Mrs. Lim run an olua, or oyster omelette stall in Jalan Besar. The hawker centre is usually busy in the daytime, with only some stalls catering to nighttime diners. The Lims are one of them, with business hours starting from nightfall. They don't offer delivery services. Customers do their own pickups.
我做晚上的啦，他们在家很无聊啦，所以他来打包啦。现在我的生意很多啦。
Because of their business hours, the couple are night birds, eating out when many others have gone to bed. But since the circuit breaker started, their nocturnal pastime has had to end. Another couple has also had to adjust to changes. Chef Chick and his wife run a Cantonese specialty food stall in a hawker centre.
都係差唔多啦，我哋都係屬於保持啦，咁啊，唔會話特別好又特別差咯，可以有得做下啦。
Chef specializes in soups and steamed dishes. Their usual hours are midday to 7:30 p.m., with a 2-hour break in between. COVID-19 restrictions have changed their routine.
而家10點就開始打包㗎啦，夜晚5點打包就冇㗎啦，1個鐘。
有時咧啲客人訂嘢咧，套餐咧，通常咧我會打俾啲熟客，叫多少少做。
即係拜三我哋翻嚟咧就要做訂菜咯，客仔幫我哋玩15個套餐。不過同佢講4點會要過嚟 collect 啦，after 啲5點嘅時候我哋就做晚餐嘅打包啊。
I guess because everyone was at home, they were not going to work also. And since they can't come down, we brought the food to them. So, yeah, it was actually better. So I also had to come in earlier, like 2:45, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 even sometimes, because they had to fulfill orders. They're like, morning orders had to go up by 7. So I remember the very first day we already had like 30 or 40 locations. The very first day we started delivery. So it was good lah.
For Suran, another surprising turn of events also occurred during the circuit breaker. A collaboration that gave his appam a new twist. In the past, roving hawkers peddled different kinds of food around the island. The same is happening today, just in a different form. Delivery riders play the intermediary between hawker and customer. In one instance, this led to a collaboration between appam master Suran and restaurateur Dylan.
That also was a side effect of the whole lockdown thing, because he was doing delivery as well. So we were actually sharing drivers, and one of the drivers who was delivering for me was delivering for him. And then somehow the food from here went there, and he loved it so much. He always wanted to work with appam.
We're just thinking like how we can actually showcase this ingredient.
We met, we talked, we brainstormed a bit, we came up with a good arrangement.
Dylan is the chef and owner of a fine dining restaurant.
My culinary background, I stem from graduating from Shatec. I'm born, my parents are hawkers. Basically, we do Franco-Asian, French technique, but yet at the same time carry influences from Southeast Asia or all around Asia with the flavors itself.
I left it up to him, like whatever he's going to put inside, on top, what he's going to serve it with.
To me personally, appam is like, as if it's like another version of sourdough, but instead of sourdough, it is being baked. This is pretty much being steamed.
I started, supplying the batter to him and taught them how to, how to troubleshoot and how to get good results with the appam and all that.
The appam batter, made of fermented rice flour, is from Madam Lechmi's family recipe and is notoriously capricious.
We prepare about 10 to 12 hours beforehand to naturally ferment it. Then we add the coconut milk. Then we start to do the appam in the wok. Appam is the most difficult thing to do. Even till now, I'm doing it for 30 years. Sometimes I myself don't know why the appam don't turn out well.
In essence, appam is a pancake. It's the carbohydrate for spicy savories or coconutty sweets. In Singapore, a crispy-edged appam is a good appam. Madam Lechmi, through trial and error, mastered the technique of making it crispy, and she gave the traditional Indian pancake a bit of fusion, the princess appam.
My children, when they were small, they like to eat with cheese. Then I thought, why not add some butter to it? It tastes very nice. Then I thought, why not we try with egg, butter and cheese? It goes very well. It was super nice. So I put it on the menu, and it was a hit. Yeah.
So Princess Appam, I love that dish a lot. It's a simple cheese, at the same time an egg, and of course with that being said, it's just done well. But for us, is that we do almost the same thing, but we keep the egg runny. Then we are using some chanterelle from France to actually develop, or in other words, to make like a mushroom ragu. A bit of mushroom, a bit of leek. Yeah. So that's one of the condiments for it. So it's like the princess, they use, we call it like your Cheesedale cheese, right? So we're using a bit of halloumi cheese, a little bit of mimonette cheese, and at the same time a touch of Comté cheese. So 3 different types of cheese in there. And the next one, what we'll be doing is actually making the appam. Yeah. I think Suran is very experienced. Can use both hands, But for us, is that we don't do this very often. So every day is a practicing matter. We talk about breakfast and ham. So instead of ham, we are using a good Parma ham from Italy. Okay, a touch of pepper. Then at the same time, we'll have a little bit of the chives. Then we'll have a touch of the Parma ham. Then over here, we'll talk about the chutney. Then at the same time, I think we'll have the mushroom ragu. course, lastly, touch it up with a touch of herbs. So we have a bit of micro coriander, and then of course a bit of beetroot leaf, and there you go. People like me who have always been doing, Western cuisine, and to be able to have a touch of what the classic hawker dishes are doing, it really brings great reward and I would say culinary joy.
End of the day, it creates better awareness on fading dishes like Appam and putu mayam and all that. It's very good that the next generation also knows what is Appam, right? Because even middle age now, most people who come here, they don't know what is Appam.
Dylan's Appam features on his weekend menu. It pays homage to Suran's stall and the Appam heritage of Singapore. The sharing of food ideas and recipes between friends is one of the ways to keep alive Singapore's food heritage. Many older hawkers got to where they are today through shared secrets.
My dad is quite lucky. He got a good friend who is selling braised duck for many years, an old uncle. So the old uncle is kind and offered to teach him how to braise duck.
40 years on, Melvin stays true to the recipe. He has taken over his father's stall, with his mother and sister lending a helping hand.
I fully took over the store in 2014 after my dad passed away quite suddenly due to stroke. So my mom's intention is if no one continues, she will just retire, and it's something I felt like is very wasted. So I took over.
The stall sells a traditional Teochew dish, duck braised in soy sauce, called lo ak, served with a side dish of broad rice noodles in dark gravy called quietens. It's very old school.
What we call more uncle food. Elderly will like it more than youngster. I did some revenge for food, and I make it into a bento set, which called a Japanese presentation. So it actually attract more younger crowds. So basically this is yam rice, so I will make it into a rice ball. Then we got this radish also, we braise it. So we have tofu, and we got the big intestine, we got the small intestine. So this is soto veggie, yam chai, and this is a tamago egg. And this is our homemade heavy yam. Okay, so this is a bento.
The stall is located in Singapore's largest hawker centre, the Chinatown Complex Food Centre. The place has fallen victim to the declining footfall in the CBD. Seeing this, Melvin started a public group on Facebook called Hawkers United to help others in the industry.
Hawkers United started on the very day when PM Lee announced circuit breaker. So I was thinking that why not I do something? This is Hawkers United 啦。这是我做的，这是来到我做去消防啊，第三人内面放的人的物件啦，敢若讲的人有做打包记无嘛？因为这种真侪人爱做物件，只唔知啥有做打包的。We also encourage neighbor hawkers who are neighbor to these elderly hawkers, can actually help them to post. 所以你本会使去看卖啦，内面放，你会使参加啦，你无免费，你会使知影什么，你会使问我啦。
因为我人看袂识，又袂晓用。
嗰你有 email 无 email？
我无 email， 我囝有嘛。我使叫我囝甲你。
那你会使叫你囝甲我联络了，然后做一个 email 互你，然后 set up 一个 Facebook， 你就来去内面参加这个 group 了。And everybody will remember in 2020 we got this COVID virus, and we overcome these together.
Actually, I would say that this situation is quite interesting because it forces us to actually think very quickly on our feet. So I think from this, it actually pushes us to do a lot of things that we always thought that we want to do, but we're like, I can do it in the future, you know.
The immediate future will force some hawkers to find closure, while others find joy in a new life. Our stories continue in the concluding episode of The Belly of a Nation.